In August 1993, several friends were preparing to go abalone diving off the northern coast of California. One of the divers, Mike Swartzel, will never forget the day.
Well, we decided to take the day off and go diving. It was absolutely a beautiful day. Flat water, about 15 to 20 foot visibility. So we figured it was the perfect day to go diving. We got out about 80 to 100 yards off the shore, and we were spread out probably 60 to 80 yards apart. David and I stayed out in front of the bay. We probably dove for a half an hour.
David Miles, another one of the divers, was searching the bottom for abalone, but he was not alone. As David headed to the surface for air, he was attacked by a great white shark. The great white swallowed him head first, up to his shoulder blades. Trapped in the jaws of death, he struggled. Then, miraculously, managed to push back and swim free.
I was on my way to the surface, looking down, trying to see where I was going to go next on my next dive, see where some abalones might be. And so I was looking down. I was slammed. It felt like a bus that hit me. I knew immediately I was inside of a shark. When he started closing his mouth, I thought it was over with my eyes. I started wincing, and then I started hearing, I thought it was my skull was being crushed, and what it was teeth breaking off, apparently in my head. When he opened his mouth back up again, that was my window of opportunity to escape.
Fearing the shark would attack again, David swam frantically to a nearby rock.
They kicked the weights loose, and then I just jettisoned myself. It seemed like on top of this rock by the time I got there. And I started yelling to my friends that were in the water. Guys! Guys!
Hearing David's desperate cries, his friend swam to safety on another rock. Only Mike was still in the water.
When I started hearing a lot of yelling and looked around, I seen the other guys were up on the rocks. My little brother started yelling at me to get out of the water, and that's when I understood that David had got bit. He pulled his coat off, and I could see his back was laid open like a fillet knife had been used on him.
Bleeding heavily, David's injuries included numerous deep lacerations on his back, scalp, and jaw. The gashes in his back were so severe, rescue personnel feared the shark's teeth had punctured David's lung cavity. Over 100 stitches would be required to close the wounds.
I'm gone!
Mike Swartzel knew he had to try to save his friend, even if the shark was still in the area.
It was about 60 yards from the rock to the beach. And what went through my mind was terror. I did not want to get back in the water again. I know the shark was in there, and I was bleeding. And from what I hear, sharks can smell blood a long way away.
I finally told him, "We have to get in the water now. We have to get out of here." He did jump into the water then and got on my tube, his chest. I grabbed the front of the tube and took off swimming for shore. David was swimming behind me with his chest on the tube.
Jeff Landesman is an expert on why sharks attack.
White sharks, for instance, it's felt that they attack humans because it's a case of mistaken identity. It's thought that a great white shark looking upwards would see this silhouette that they think might be their prey, and then they would rush from below and attack.
I was worried about him maybe bleeding to death. I did start getting worried because he started getting lethargic. The shock was kind of setting in on him.
When Mike and David finally reached the shore, they were met by the other divers who had already summoned emergency assistance.
I feel as though I won the lottery that day. They tell me it's like 300 million to 1 to survive a great white attack, and being head first in a great white attack, I don't know what the odds are, but I felt as though I won the lottery that day. I felt very lucky.